This just in. Break. We have our top stories tonight.
The other night on the Hustler livestream, Magnus Carlsen made an epic call. After the hand went reached for comment, Magnus simply said, checkmate.
Next up, poker vlogger Brad Owen returns to the lodge after his epic punt slat. Do I really have to say this? Also, tonight, poker YouTuber Doug Polk faces immense backlash over nonstop insults on Matt Berkey.
Cut. Dude, stick to the script.
Oh yeah, my thing was breaking news, but this is not a big story. In order to combat negative PR, Doug Polk is giving away 1% of his high-stakes poker appearance next week, which means that one lucky winner will have 1% more action than Matt Berkey. In other news, is this another Matt Berkey joke? I'm not gonna do this anymore. I don't even have anything against the guy. Let's switch. I'm gonna write the jokes. You come over here. You do the news.
Damn it. That was a good one, too. This just in. Breaking news. Drunk idiot loses $300,000 on a... This was 6 years ago. Next up, fresh off a $200,000 victory in a weight loss bet, Bill Perkins claims victory once again, beating Doug in his own card room for $30,000. In fact, the only thing I'm beating Bill on is the race to die with zero. I've been winning that battle for my whole life. And finally tonight, with high-stakes poker just around the corner, which one of these players do you think is going to take the prize? One of these picks you can take to the bank. Unlike CoinFlex. Slow, Brad. Slow. All of this and more tonight on Broker News. All right, guys. Obviously today we are joined by well-known poker vlogger Brad Owen. And we got some exciting stuff to talk about. Actually, today, maybe even around when this video is posted, we are going to be playing on stream over at the lodge some 50, 100. Lord knows what straddles will be on at that point, but definitely check it out over at Poker at the Lodge.
We've got some high stakes 50, 100 games going on that'll be live streamed. We've got Skull Mike, Slick Rick in the commentary, and maybe some special guests in there as well. We've got the meetup game April 25th. That'll be a special low stakes 1-2 game. If you're in the area, come hang out and join us for that. Andrew will be there as well. And then that kicks off the Lodge Championship Series. So we've got the main event coming up. It's a $3K buy-in, $2 million guarantee, and that lasts May 10th to May 16th. Hope to see you there.
Kicking it off, let's talk about Magnus Carlsen getting into the poker scene. Now, look, I know what you guys are thinking. I really want that guy in my games. I'm sure he is quite the spot. But it's nice to see Magnus transitioning over from chess into poker. Obviously, we don't know if he's going to be transitioning for very long or what his future plans are. But if you didn't hear about this, he actually vacated the Chess World Championship title, a match that is currently ongoing. He vacated his seat and has been sort of, at least seemingly, trying to live his best life, traveling around, and also playing some poker. He had a notable hand on the Hustler livestream the other day where he made a pair with a call on the river with fourth pair, which was a little bit of an ambitious call. However, it was a correct one against his opponent, Nick Austin. I went over to check out the hand on YouTube to break down the action, but I gotta say, looking at his YouTube channel, he's now pivoting over from posting chess videos to poker videos. And these things are putting up some big numbers. In fact, these videos are getting way more than similar-ish types of videos in terms of length that he was posting about chess. So seems like chess players like to gamble. Chess always needed a little bit of RNG.
Oh, Bryson.
Whatever it is.
Good clip, though. Good clip. You run games at your house?
300.
Good clip, if nothing
Mariano
else.
has a lot of those.
What'd you say?
Do you run games at your house?
Yeah, all the time.
Really?
In theory.
Show.
I mean, I don't.
In theory, they're like
In
imaginary
an imaginary world.
Imaginary world, yeah.
With fake money?
Right. Money involved, though. Yeah.
It's illegal to
it's
run
VR
poker
money.
games at your house.
It's V-Bucks.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, V-Bucks we run. I got a couple gift cards, bro. I haven't used that.
Whoa, the greens are coming out. Are they the tilted greens or the happy greens? Stay tuned to find out.
I mean, if he was trying to get value out of a good hand, he wouldn't have raised it like that. I think he's got. He's trying to get $100 from all of us with 7 deuce.
You want to play V-Bucks? Absolutely.
I'll make it easier for you. I'm folding out a turn.
Thanks. You're in turn, by the way. I appreciate it.
Our action begins with Mariano opening it up with the ace-7 of hearts under the gun +1. Now Magnus re-raises with the 4-3 of hearts in the hijack. This is actually a bit too loose of a play from Magnus. Obviously, if you're playing in a game that you're having fun and want to get in there with the 4-3 of hearts, totally fine. But if we look at what GTO ranges look like, this would be a bit outside of the curve. Now on the button, Bryce comes along with the King-5 offsuit. Don't think we need to break that one down too in depth. And Nick Austin looks down at ace-jack offsuit in the small blind and decides to go ahead and cold 4-bet. I will say, if you want to play here in the small blind, I do like the idea of cold 4-betting. That said, given the action in front of you, I think ace-jack off is mainly just a fold. I wouldn't be surprised if once in a blue moon it gets in there, but you're really going to look more for hands like ace-king, ace-queen, suited Broadway, suited connectors, and some of your pairs as well. Anyway, he does decide to 4-bet, and he makes it a pretty good size here, $1,200. I think some people go too small in this spot, and they set up good pot odds for the rest of the players to be able to continue the hand. Anyway, he knocks the other blinds out. Now the action back over to Mariano with ace-7 of hearts here. You know, this is a hand that you should be folding, and he lets it go, although it did look briefly like he was going to make the call. Anyway, now over to Magnus, 4-3 of hearts. You're going to have to ditch this one. It's really just about the worst possible hand you can't have. But Magnus has other intentions, and he does have position, so he goes ahead and makes the call. Now on the button for Bryce with King-5 off. Wasn't really supposed to be in here to begin with, but now is a good time to lay this hand down and move on, which he does do, and let's take a flop.
Oh, I would have yelled at you if you did it.
700.
700.
$700 bet, $700 call.
The flop comes King 8-4 with 2 spades, 2,800 out there with about $11,000 behind. This is a great flop for the 4-betting player. You're definitely going to have ace-king. You can have some king-queen, king-jack, king-10 suited, all going to be in your range. And of course, you have way more aces and kings than the player who decided to call the 4-bet. Nick decides to go ahead and bet about 1/4 pot. I actually really like this size from Nick. I think this is a good play. His hand also makes a lot of sense to do it with. He does have a club and a spade. However, you're going to probably want to make this bet with just about anything that 4-bets because this board is so favorable for you. Magnus with bottom pair here. I would say you pretty much always want to call. It doesn't make too much sense to have raises on a board like this that favors the pre-flop 4-better. So facing this bet in position with a 1/4 pot bet, you're going to want to make the call, which Magnus does, and let's take a turn.
We are in overtime. I hope you guys are enjoying the show on this Wednesday evening. We're back at it tomorrow, 5 p.m. Pacific time. Bart Hansen is playing 10, 20, 40 tomorrow night. And then Friday, of course, our big game. Bart will be commentating on that one. And then on Monday, DGAF and Raver Poker will be in the game for Max Payne. Hoodie Allen in the chat. What's up, Hoodie?
Cheers. To what though?
To not losing all your money.
Yeah, let's cheers to that.
Thanks for joining us, Eric Peterson. And Josias
No, it wasn't even bad.
Braganza. Hello.
That was bad.
I gotta be honest, that one was tough.
Appreciate your support, Lee French. Get a bet here from Nick Magnus. Calling again. Stubborn and sticky.
The turn comes the 9 of hearts. So this is a brick turn for both players. Neither player has improved. And the board's getting kind of dicey for both of them. This is where I think Nick deviates off sort of optimal play a little bit too hard. I think typically speaking, you just kind of want to check fold here. He does have a spade, which is good, but he has the ace of clubs, which is bad. You don't want to be betting these backdoor nut flush draws on the turn because you want Magnus to have a hand like ace, queen of spades. But if you are keen on barreling, which I can get behind from time to time, you need to bet a size that sets up for a roughly equivalent river jam. When you just bet $1,600, it's just not enough to really get your opponent to fold out a lot of holdings. So he does bet $1,600. Now over to Magnus. This is actually a really, really close spot with bottom pair. I can kind of see arguments both ways. Typically speaking, when you have bottom pair, you have an easy fold versus turn barrel. But if the bet does get small enough, you might be incentivized to continue playing. 4-3 can improve more often than a hand like, let's just say, pocket tens if you are beat. So I don't really mind either way with Magnus's hand, although I will say, typically speaking, you're going to want to fold to this turn barrel when you face it, and especially if it's a normal size. Anyway, Magnus decides to continue this hand and make the call, and let's take a river.
Yeah, I like that. Cheers. Nobody loses no one.
That's a good one, Eric.
Go. And
Sorry about you.
no, don't worry.
Magnus with a pair of fours can beat nothing.
Yeah. My redemption arc is coming. You made him 100.
But we saw earlier on, he considered calling with king high. If Nick bets again here,
Oh, yeah. I made that only 5
Hey, dude, that was very close to not being returned.
can Magnus find the call?
hand away from this.
I have no read on what's going on. I have no idea. And I feel like an idiot. I've been trying to figure it out. I'm very confused.
You're going 3 streets, eh?
River comes at 10. This is a very interesting card in this situation because Nick can have hands like 7-6 suited or queen jack suited that have hit straights, whereas Magnus really can't have those holdings. Also, Nick still has all of these pre-flop hands that are very strong that Magnus will have a lot less of. I think in this situation, Nick just needs to bet probably either all in or a very large size. He ultimately decides to go 3,200. I just don't think this is a big enough bet. Essentially, your opponent now can call with a variety of bluff catchers thinking that maybe you're a little bit weak. And also, if you do have a hand like ace-king and you want to bet, you probably want to go either bigger or smaller. This bet's kind of in no man's land. A lot of times out of position, you'll use very small bets called block bets to kind of pot control situations, or you'll do big bets where you try and get paid. This bet kind of in the middle. I do think it's a reasonable triple, especially having the jack of spades. That is a reasonably good card to have. But I do think Nick should probably bet bigger or maybe bet smaller. I know, classic poker hands, guys. Just do some stuff. Over to Magnus now. So kind of interesting spot. I think that in Magnus's shoes, you're going to have some missed flush draws. Those are obviously going to fold. You're going to have a bunch of 2 pairs here now, at least some 2 pairs. You'll have some pocket 9s that called the flop. You'll have some 9-8 suited. You'll probably have some 10-8 suited. Given that we have 4-3 of hearts, we probably have quite a number of these 2-pair hands. But on the other side, this bet is kind of strange from his opponent. Typically speaking, bets like this don't make a lot of sense, and I think Magnus just found this to be kind of curious. It is interesting seeing chess players move over because the difference between chess and poker, chess is a complete information game. So you see all the pieces, you see where they are, you know what the situation is. Whereas poker is an incomplete information game. You have to think about what's possible, what's likely, and how likely are those things. Because of this, the games are actually quite different despite both being strategy games. And I find that sometimes very smart people, when they move to poker, they actually kind of struggle. I'm not saying Magnus is going to struggle. I'm pretty sure this guy could figure out how to play poker if he really wanted to. But the thinking and the thought process that goes into it are very different lines of thought. In poker, it's about dealing in probabilities and likelihood, whereas in chess, it's more about different lines and variations and essentially some tactics and strategic elements as well, but about known instances. Anyway, I'm not really sure what to do here with 4-3 of hearts. I lean towards probably folding. You just have so many other better hands. Magnus can have a king here. Magnus can have 2 pair. Magnus can have sets. But luckily for Magnus, he's going to play this hand a little bit differently.
Actually, somehow, I don't believe you at all.
Your instincts are spot on.
Like, there aren't a lot of hands. You have ace-king, obviously. There aren't a lot of hands that you would just go 3 streets with there. Like, I have so many of these hands that crush this board. I just don't believe you at all.
It's smart shit.
This is the problem.
The fact that Nick just
I'm gonna
got
look really
bluffed
stupid.
Yeah, he's like no.
has to be a factor in this hand.
Like, but I just don't believe you.
It's a side.
I don't believe you at all.
He doesn't believe you at all.
Wow, what a call! What a call!
For Magnus Carlsen.
Okay.
Magnus are the only chess player playing some poker these days. Of course, Alexandra Botez getting in there quite often on the Hustler live stream. And it seems like she wins every time she plays. So these chess guys are crushers. I think we better watch out. Moving on, some big news here in the poker world with Brad Owen and Andrew Nemi doing a meetup game. And Brad, are you writing these again? The hell? Big news? We're having a meetup game too. It's next week. Next up, there's a new podcast/skit hybrid channel coming out here known as Aceholes. That's by Caitlin Comiskey and Nikki Limo. They recently posted a skit, and I have to say this thing was pretty amazing. You actually might know some of the guest stars.
You know what to do.
I just said I wouldn't show turn.
Who's Steve from Blue's Clues now?
Oh, wow. Another Brad Owen piece of news here today. I could have never seen that one coming. I always liked Andrew better anyway. Anyway, if you want to check out this new channel, I think that they are very talented and I really like the skits they're putting together. So make sure to check out Aceholes. I'll put a link in the description below. And finally tonight, I think I forgot to mention, I'm giving away 1% of my high stakes poker buy-in. You can enter to win at least $1,000 or 1% of my winnings, whichever one's greater. Check it out in the link in the description below. Guys, it was a slow news day. I'm going to be honest with you, but I had Brad here for the breaking news. We had to do it. Thank you guys for tuning in today, and I will see you guys hopefully right now over at Poker at the Lodge. We got some 50-100 going. I'll see you there.